Hey everyone, it's Mary. Welcome back to the channel for another design team project for Not2Shabby. Don't forget the coupon code for 10% off your order is Mary10. Okay, so I'm going to be playing with the Concord and 9th Cityscapes stamp set. And I have to tell you, this is one of those stamp sets that I would see repeatedly over and over again and want it every time I saw it. So I just said, yes, that's my design team project. Here, Jamie sends us these adorable little cards or envelopes or all the greatness that she's making, and she sends them out to her design team. And then here is my stamp set from Concord and 9th. I just love it. I think it's just so much fun. All right, so before we get into the stamping, we're going to make a background here, and I'm going to be using my Avery L liquid watercolors. I've done this before in the past in a video, and I find it to be the fastest way to make a galaxy background. It's so simple. You just put the colors down onto your craft mat and then add some water and pick it up with the paper. So I really find this to be really, really fast, and I think that's what's most enticing about it. I did add some iridescent drops here. I got those in a Hero Arts kit a long time ago, and add some water, and then I'm going to put down my watercolor paper. This is Tim Holtz Distress watercolor paper, and I'm just going to kind of smush it around just a little bit. You don't really even need to smush it too much. The colors just mix, and then you have this magic done. And that's pretty much all you have to do. Now, if you want more of a certain color, then you're going to go ahead and add that. I'm only using 3 primary colors. The red, the blue, and the yellow, and that's going to give me all these other mixes. So now my second go at it is a lot lighter. Okay, I wanted to keep going because I was having too much fun. You can do drops, or you can do kind of like squiggly lines with your paint, and then this one's a lot darker, a lot more rich, but I didn't have enough red in it. So I went back and added a few more drops of red, and I add a little bit more water, and then once I dry this up, because I'm afraid if I add it now, it's going to mix it too much into like orange, just the colors that I don't necessarily want or am looking for. But I do go back and I smash it down again, and just to pick up some of that red, because I really wanted to add a little bit more. Now this is very, very bold, very different from the second or third time you go at your inks, because that will lighten up quite a bit. So here are 4 of my panels that I got. Very simple. Even if you don't use them for galaxy backgrounds, they're just so much fun and vibrant and easy. I think that's really the best part. I'm going to cut down these panels because when I put card panels on my A2 size card, I like to have a little bit of a border. Also, I'm going to mat these later on some black cardstock. So I feel like that was, perfect just to cut them down a little bit. I'm going to take out my regular distress in black soot, and I'm going to add that to the sides of my card. I want it to look like a night scene, but also have those colors shine through the center. And when I add this black distress ink, the middle pops even more. It looks really, really pretty. This one is my favorite because I feel like it's just so bright in the center. So I chose the Distress ink over Distress Oxide because my Distress Oxide comes out a little bit more on the gray tone, and I really wanted that stark black around the card. I'm going to take out this Distress Picket Fence white paint, put that on an acrylic block, and then take my paintbrush that I use solely for painting. I do not switch between brushing my teeth and using it for painting, just in case you were curious. But I'm going to use this to splatter some white droplets or white paint splatters all over my cardstock. It gives that really, really fine look, almost like a really starry night sky. Once I go through and I do that for both cards, I thought it just didn't have enough large white splatters. And so I decided to then take my paintbrush, and I did water it down just a little bit more. And I am going to add just by flicking like this with my paintbrush. And that's going to add a little bit larger of the white drops, which I was going for both of those looks. So I get that done, and then I'm going to put those aside to dry. Okay, so going through and finishing up my paint splatters, these really were starting to come together. If you've ever made a galaxy card, you kind of know that until you put the white paint on for the stars, it doesn't necessarily look like what you're going for. So it really does seal the deal for me, is just adding that paint. I'm going to put those in my Mini Misty and then put the stamps where I want them. So I went for a very simple usage of these stamps. You can, and I have, stamped them out and colored them. I actually watercolored them, so that'll be in a different project video. But for this one, I really just wanted to keep it almost just like abstract looking, because I wanted the background to be the focal point as well. But you definitely get the point of, you know, the stamp on the front. It's just that I didn't want like a solid bright image. This is what I decided to go for, and I really like the way that it turned out. But I am going to make it stand out even more by adding some Clair embossing powder to my images. I used VersaFine Clair on them, so it's sticky, and so then when I use my Clair embossing powder and then heat set that, it's going to make them embossed, make them pop, and it's going to be even better off the page. So that's why I decided to do that. But with this stamp set, you have just, options are limitless. There's so much fun you can have with these. So I do that on the first one. It stands out very well on the first one because the background is a lot lighter. On this second one, it's a little bit more subdued, if you will. And I also like that too. So, however, on this one, I am going to pull out my gel pens because I have colored with gel pens over watercolor backgrounds before, and it does work. It's not as opaque as if you were using white cardstock, but it does definitely work. So pull out my color gel pens, and I'm not going to show you the coloring in this video because there's nothing but putting the gel pen to the paper. There's no blending, there's no technique. I'm just filling in the images. I decided to only color in the buildings on this card right here. So I'm not going to color in the other one. Couple reasons. I'm sure it would look nice, but for fear of ruining it, I just wanted to keep it the way it was. But here's the colored image. And so you can see the difference when you fill those in with some gel pens. And I used just a myriad of colors here. And so I really like the way that turned out. And I like that the bottom isn't finished. You know, there's kind of like space there. It's just kind of abstract-y. And then I left the other one just the way it is, and I was happy with that. Again, that background on the one on the right is my absolute favorite. I think it's just so bright. Now I want to pop these up on some foam tape, or fun foam rather, and so the fastest way, or the best way I can think to do that, is to use this ginormous roll of scrapbook.com adhesive. And I'm going to do that because it makes it very, very sturdy. So if I put double-sided adhesive like this on both sides of my fun foam and then add it to my card panel, it's going to actually flatten out if there was any warping. Here, but I just wanted to show you here real quick that you can cut this down with a guillotine trimmer. And so I'm cutting it down to exactly the size that I want, instead of having to try to measure that with scissors. And I don't know why I haven't been doing this. This just makes it so much simpler. So I'm going to chop that up and get it ready for my card. Again, I'm making it a little bit smaller than the panel that it will go on. And so get that ready, pull off my release paper, and then I'm just going to place that on the back of my panel. Be careful with your placement because this adhesive is super strong. So once you stick it down, it's pretty much done. So that's it. And now you can see there's hardly any warpage in that cardstock at all. It's almost perfectly flat. And I'm going to place this down on some cardstock just to give it a nice thin black mat right around the outside of it. And I do that for both cards. And that's going to finish up the card. I hope you like this card. This was super fun to make. And hopefully you give this a try with these liquid watercolors, or any watercolors really. But the technique is so easy and it's so much fun. Thanks for stopping by. I'll list what we used below in the description box. If you have any questions whatsoever, please let me know. And until next time, we'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.